Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am so delighted to moderate this power-packed session of great industry leaders. We have been having some interesting conversations over coffee since morning, and I think most of the discussion is already done. But yes, we are all geared up with more discussions this afternoon with all of you. So I think this topic is very interesting, and I believe this topic has not only impacted the events industry per se, but every single human being across the globe, I would say, starting from a school child who's overnight, the school shifted into a laptop, to a corporate professional who's, home no more is home. It's also become a office workspace. So uh, with that, let's start with the discussion. So my first question to all my panelists would be that events is all about experience, right? You all have been experiencing that and doing that. Now, when the lockdown happened, how did your industry adapt itself to this massive disruption which was being created by the world shifting to virtual events? So can we start with Mani Singh?
Hi, thank you, Jasmine, for this one. And I'm sure all of us would have a similar answer to this. But basically, all of us from the live industry space and live event space, we were very excited. What gives us the energy is to meet up with people. And, rest, everything just happens and the event automatically becomes amazing. But now we had to convert, we had to shut down everything, and now we had to convert onto, rely on technology. We had to convert onto a platform, which for us is pretty dead, if you ask me, because there's no life that's coming out of it. You're not interacting with an audience. You're not able to see who's sitting on the other side of Zoom, whether the person is even smiling or not smiling. Are they reacting? They're not reacting. Over here, I know like most of our chairs are empty because people are out having coffee. So, you couldn't understand any of that. But then we realized that if we had to stay alive, and because of the kind of work we do, we could not sit back. So we had to graduate. We had to push ourselves into the next space, which was to learn technology. We were just using technology as a event enhancer, never as a necessity. But I think it was fantastic. We learned the skills of technology. We adapted technology as a part, as an extension of our live events. And I think that is where we hit success. And we started learning. We started learning how to bring the experiences into the onto the virtual events, onto the platforms. And of course, we're going to talk about this as we go along. But literally, that's what we did.
Thank you, Nani. I think adopting the technology is definitely. What's your take on it, Janardhan?
Hi. So I'm not a hardcore event guy, but having worked on many events, and I'm a brand strategist and brand planner. During the pandemic, when all of us thought this industry will die, it came alive, and that all due to technology. And kudos to all of them that it adopted technology so fast, when everybody was confused, and looking out for ways and means to survive. It adopted to technology and it started delivering result. Now, how I see it from a mass media practitioner's, viewpoint is that, see, today, the biggest newspaper in the world is Twitter. The largest television network is YouTube. The largest, you can say the biggest book library is Facebook. I'm not getting into quality and content quality aspect. Likewise, and it's all due to the technology, adaptation of technology. Now this, when I thought over this topic, when I look at the event industry, this hybrid model, though it came into existence and practice a lot due to pandemic, but now it is a big opportunity to enhance the reach of the events that you all do. So the technology can, do away with your limits. Like, you're doing an event offline, but you can amplify and multiply its reach using the online technology. That is one. Two, what event has been missing is the monitoring and measurability, which is like, suppose you have to come as a main line media and be part of media plans like, radio, television, digital, and cinema and outdoor is, you need a monitoring and measurability mechanism. I see there is a scope with the use of technology to deliver that. The hybrid model also helps you to extend the life of the event and its impact, because the offline is ended, but the online can be kept alive. And I think it will not cost more than 2% of the total cost of the event. That is and the point. Three is that, with when you're using so much of technology, you can create a bucket of insights. That becomes a selling tool to the brand managers and marketers in the future to scale up. So in all, I feel that this pandemic has given lot of opportunity to adopt technology and transform the event industry into a mass media parallel, kind of industry. So that's where my thoughts lies. Okay,
Absolutely,
thanks.
well said. I think technology is the key which has helped everybody sail through that, no matter whatever industry it is. So yes, over to you, Srijan. So you are hardcore working into the travel industry. So how has your industry sailed through this massive bomb which was thrown to everybody across the globe?
Hi all. So what I think is when we were in the pandemic, when everything got changed, how we figured out what to do was, the concept of intimate wedding started. And then when we were not a hardcore wedding guys. We were always doing concerts. And now because of the pandemic, there were at least weddings to do. So we had some kind of funnel, we get some kind of money kicking in. But how it changed was earlier we were doing 1,000 people wedding. Now it's a 20 people physical wedding and 980 people online virtually seeing it. So that was one thing, that was one new stuff we started doing, everyone started doing, and virtual weddings came into the concept. So that was one change we saw, and that was something we accepted and started working on it. So now since everything is back and like the physical events are up, so but still hybrid events, I guess it's going to help to reach more and more audience in the end. That's what I feel.
Thank you, Srijan. So my next question is to you, Pawan. So you are taking care of, you're a part of the hotel industry. So how has the hotel industry survived through the pandemic times?
I'd like to speak on behalf of the industry itself, the hotel industry. As I see it, it's not just a curveball situation, it's a twist on the curveball for us, because we were not honestly prepared for this kind of a situation. We had end of life systems in most of the hotels, so to say. But the swiftness to adapt to this situation while most of the hotels were closed during COVID, our IT teams, our infrastructure teams have been working to do a complete investment in terms of hardware and as well as software. So we have come up with for Accor, it's called All Connect. That's a program that we have come up with, and most of the large hotel companies did come up with their own coined programs to run the hybrid events, largely catering to the small meeting spaces. So we have over 90% compliance globally for Accor hotels in terms of All Connect. Our core business is and was to create aesthetics, focus on service, and deliver great food and beverage experience. Largely, that's our definition of experience. Technology was never part of it. Now, during this COVID, which has become a catalyst for us to adapt technology, it's quite impressive how we have done as an industry.
I think just to add one more thing to it, that this more of philanthropic work also, which the hotel industry has done, when the hospital beds were completely occupied. I think this industry, a huge round of applause to the industry per se. They've actually come forward and, extended that hand. So I think great job done out there. So over to you, Abhishek. What's your stance on?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. At Tribes, we looked at the pandemic at two levels. First was from the business point of view, where most of the panelists have spoken about. The second was from a human point of view. Now, if you see, events business is all about people business, or marketing business is all about people business. So it was very important that we keep the teams, the people involved in the business engaged, right? So the talk of mental wellness has been spoken out loud now. So our management took this call that how do we engage our teams during this lull period, because we are all social animals, right? And we would want to meet people, we want to engage with people. So at human level, we had a lot of sessions, online sessions, of course, which was around creativity, which was around hobbies, other engagement, right? So that people were engaged around it, and you didn't have a dull moment, so to say, because business was not great. Coming to the business part of it, as everybody rightly said, we tried to upgrade, upskill. Again, the management took a call that let's engage the team to do probably some certification courses so that they are ready for the market, both during the pandemic and post-pandemic, to integrate technology in creating even bigger and wow experiences.
No one was prepared for pandemic, right? So when you talk about the event industry and the travel industry, both suffered. And there was a huge gap between the technology and the tech industry and these industries. So yeah, audible. So the gap was to be fulfilled. And the event industry and the travel industry both had to adapt to new technologies, get into AI, VR, all possible aspects of technologies to get back to their audience. And like that's the push that everyone had, and like had to work on these things. And I think most of the points are covered already, rightfully, right?
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone. So yes, I think most of you have spoken about one aspect that technology has come to everybody's rescue, in terms of sailing through those tough times which COVID has brought into everybody's life and came unnocked. So I would also be intrigued to know now that even if technology is there, but it's after all the humans, it's the team, it's our core people who are at the back end, who are also adapting themselves. So Janardhan, my question to you would be that how did you upskill the team who's working in your organization with the key capabilities which are required to adapt with the change? I do understand your forte is more into research, but yes, as an organization that you're leading, so how did you upskill your team members?
So everything is an event. I'll again say, so television is all outcome of event only. It has reached, the format. So we all were affected. Like we are a, middle-sized agency. We use technology, but those are very basics. We never thought that we will be able to convince a client about a 2 crore media plan without meeting him, because we never did that before. It is always that you sit in front of the client and you have interaction and you have discussion and everything. For first 3 months we were struggling that how to open a communication. No, even forget about a media plan, how to ask a client that whether he is still interested into advertising or something. We looked around and when the technology started playing the role, suddenly we could see a ray of hope that it helped us to start the communication, and it helped us to understand and believe that we are still alive into the business. Okay, so that was the key ingredients, because it was very depressing time, when every day when we are meeting 5 to 6 people, we are having 20-25 meaningful mails to exchange, and so much of data churning out, and so many of slides that we make, and suddenly there is nothing. So we trained our entire team how to work from the home. We had to open that Google Google account and Zoom account, and we hired consultants to train them how to use and how to present themselves, and there was it's beyond the use of technology. There was an inhibition, like in our mind, people were not confident. So many a time it happened with me after spending so much of time in the industry that I'll prepare everything, but when I'm actually attending the session online, I forget most of the points. So yeah, so I was excited that I will impress the subject on the subject matter to the client, or to the especially in the negotiations also, because for agency, it's more important to convince a client, and much more important to get from the suppliers what they want. So in negotiations, we were getting completely ineffective. Slowly and gradually, with the training and with the practices, and there was a thing that we could make out that everybody is struggling. And there was an element like human element that even the client and the suppliers and whoever we were talking to, they were like, uh, they were more human, they're more understanding. So that gave us a lot of confidence. So I can say that first year, the 2020, entire year, all thanks to, Zoom and Google and Microsoft and the WhatsApp and other formats, we could feel that we are alive and we are still having hope to survive in the business. We transacted less business, but we could know that, even if this continues for 5 6 years, so by the time 21 was there, we were confident that even the pandemic is continuing till 25, which people were saying, still we will not die. Okay. So training to the people, having long session with them online within the teams to make them understand that world is not over. Okay. And making them talk to other peer group, the industry, there were industry groups formed, like, from other agencies, from other, our suppliers. We made groups and we used to call Zoom meetings to talk to each other, just to know like how they are feeling, how they want to, tackle it. So it all helped. And the common thing was technology. And the second thing was the human behind the technology, like, the humans who were using the technology. So that's the way we could, survive.
Absolutely. I
last 2
think the
years. Yeah, yeah.
complexities were there, but I don't think so. Event industry had slept even for a single night, despite, the in-person events were not happening, but it was virtual was like almost a very different disruption which was happening. So with that, my next question is to you, Nani. So hybrid events have leaped into 2022, I would say, and it's pretty much a part of every corporate strategy if we talk about it. So how has your organization per se handled this complexity, the cost, as well as the risk involved into it? Also, at the same time, you have to convince your exhibitor as well as sponsor that he or she is going to get that kind of a return on investment. So how have you dealt with it?
Sure. So, oops, sorry. So again, like I'll take you back coming from the live event space. So there was an X amount of expertise already in there. We knew exactly how events happened and what it took to do a successful event. And with good quality, with the right kind of service providers. I hate using the word vendors because, I mean, you're not vending machines, right? So yeah, so we're all service providers, and thank you. So we respect each other. If I'm doing something, the person is also giving me a service and standing by me and supporting. So if I'm the event face of the company, then if my service provider is not able to deliver, I mean, event is not a success, right? So that was the first thing we had to do, was to be very selective in our choice of the right kind of service providers that we could work with. So once we identified that, we all, I mean, all of us indulged into learning technology, learning. Of course, you cannot learn technology. It doesn't happen overnight. None of us are techies, but we started, sitting on Google because we were all working from home, sitting on Google, taking up whatever little workshops and plans that were happening, attending online, conferences, workshops on technology, just to understand and learn what was going on around the world. And picking up from instances that were happening globally, the experiences that people were creating online, which we tried to incorporate over here. And I have to say, we managed to do a lot of things over here. Then moving, then of course, everything went digital, which was again very exciting for us because it was challenging to keep the audiences engaged, challenging to convince a customer, a client, that is going to be, well, you cannot call it an absolute success as in terms of a live event, because a personal interaction, body language is very important, whether you're meeting up, like Janardhan said, with a client or anybody else, right? But on the other hand, your reach is much more. You are reaching, like, I mean, we totally went into musical events. And for people who know Showcase, you know that we've been promoting artists and talent for the longest time. We went virtual, literally creating a space for these artists to be able to come and perform. I think in real life, we would have never reached out to the artist sitting somewhere in Nagpur or somewhere in some remote part of the country. And everybody became tech savvy. They all knew how to use a smartphone, be it a folk artist, and of course, we helped them a lot. That's besides the point. But and even with other individuals for that matter. So the reach is much more. So because there's a better reach, then obviously the contacts, the connections, your business grows because you are penetrating areas where I mean, people, we had situations where people said, oh, like, in our live annual convocation, we haven't had more than 2,000 people. But in the hybrid convocation, we had over 6,000 joinees because all their campuses joined online when that particular university. So we actually got known for that because we were creating the live campus on the screen. So what was very important for us to just ensure that we had the right technology partners, we had good bandwidths, because that your entire event can collapse if you don't have a good bandwidth. And like right now, we are doing a hybrid event as well, and you can see that. And I'm sure, I don't know what the platform says just now, how many people are watching, but I'm sure because the content stays online, so the reach is much more. You do an event at that point of time, you may have 10 people watching, but literally in few hours, we have seen how that 10 has become 1,000 views. And it just doesn't happen like that. And there was a lot of good content coming out, and you needed to reach out to people. So when it came to clients and understanding how the ROI would happen, of course, you cannot match the ROI versus a live event. But a hybrid event is able to give you an equally and a better ROI, because your reach is much more, your logos are in the face. We are sitting over here, I'm talking right now, but I'm sure, next to me, whoever's there on the screen at the back are visible. Your logos are visible to the audience that's watching. So nobody's going to miss out on the brands that have supported today's event. So that's instant return of your investment.
Very well said, Nani. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. Of course, I'm picking up a very pertinent point. You said the reach is more. So moving to Abhishek as my next question is, so even if the reach is more, but hybrid is fairly a new landscape, even for the events industry. So it's like equivalent to two different events that you have unified together. There's a virtual audience and there's an in-person audience. So how do you ensure that engagement happens? How do you ensure that communication happens? There's a virtual booth, there's an in-person booth happening. So how do you boost that interaction?
Okay, so I'll answer it at two levels. Firstly, I think the lockdown, I mean, they say the problems are opportunities. I think it opened up a lot of opportunities for event industry, right? Firstly, from a technology perspective, the adoption level, especially in the upcountry or the rural areas, went really high. So in a way, I would like to say that it made democratization of a lot of aspects, right? So even a person living in a small town like Bhairech could access the knowledge which was probably done in LA or New York. So that ways technology did a penetration. They could access a lot of information, data, which was not available to them, or they had no idea about sitting at the click of a button, right? So from that perspective, I think it was great. And probably event industry needed a push to probably reinvent itself, right? So from that perspective, it was a good push. Now coming to the second part of the question. Now see, we are talking about experiential, right? The question, in the question itself, the answer lies. If I'm talking about experiential, if I can't create an experience, what's the point? So say, for example, this is the great audience sitting over here. And if I want to give them an experience, see, what is experiential? Let me start with that question. It is creating a moment of truth, a larger than life canvas where people can see a dream come alive, right? That's all an event is all about. It is a one night or a 2 night thing where you come and experience maybe an alive event from a sports perspective or entertainment perspective, right? So it gives you a larger the life canvas to experience things. That's where you can curate it, you can personalize it. So say, for example, we just did something for the cream of corporate Delhi in Sundar Nursery. The idea over there was, how do I curate an experience? Because the audiences that I'm talking about are well read, well fed, and well traveled, right? Nothing mundane would work, or nothing mundane would attract them to come to that place. So only a customized, curated event would give that value for the brand and the people attending that. So that's where a live experience works. Now, coming to the second part from a hybrid perspective, I feel that hybrid also has a long life. because a hybrid model not just increases the engagement or the reach, but also has a longer life. But I would focus on certain industries when I look at a hybrid model. Say, for example, if I'm doing a campaign around, or I'm doing something around education sector, or something that ma'am mentioned about the tribal or access to giving them a platform, right? So if I have to give a tribal community of Jharkhand or Chhattisgarh to get the access of a market like Delhi or Bombay, or an audience of Delhi and Bombay to know what they are talking about, or what their music is all about, or food is all about, this is an amazing platform. So I think we can pick and choose what we want to do with this. Both of them can coexist. Both of them will have a life of their own. And I think there's nothing like a live event. There's nothing like the buzz of the energy that you get in a live event. There is no comparison to that, right? And I think I was reading in the morning about all the teachers or the principals talking about, while because of the air pollution, you are talking about online classes, but that does not deliver. We've all seen it. Kids, the learning graph of kids in the past 2 years has really gone down, right? So they have sort of forgotten how to write. Their handwriting has gone. So it is a live example in front of us. So a live event has its own values, has its own buzz, has its own excitement around it. You can customize, you can curate, and that's the buzz around it. And I think the clients understand the value. They are able to differentiate between what would a live event deliver and what would a online event deliver. Because even in online event, it's not very easy. You have to customize it. You have to do a lot of things for them to retain. Because here, at least I have an audience in front of me. I can feel the buzz. I can feel what point is exciting them, what's not. On a hybrid model, I would have access to nothing of that. And that's where it becomes a bit more challenging, and maybe the return becomes much more diminishing.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. Very well said. I think you focused a lot about customization as the key point that I would like to take away from your talk. So with that, my next question leads to Srijin, is that since Abhishek is talking about customization, so what is the ticketing strategy when it comes to the event management organizations? Because a person sitting virtually would not want to pay as the same price which a person is walking in person. So how do you handle the paid event? Is there some kind of a tiered level of ticketing that you have? So because this is very, very important.
Yes. So as we said, we are into the music concerts and festival space. And when we create a festival, it's about 20-30,000 people coming together. And that's the kind of vibe we try to deliver. And if we talk about hybrid events, when we, also do it virtually, how does it help us? Yes, it helps us because we can reach, a broader audience. That is one thing. For example, when we do events in India with a good lineup, with a Indian lineup maybe, and they must be having fans, across the world, and who are not able to attend their concerts because these events are not happening in their country. And maybe if we open up to a virtual space, if we give we make virtual tickets available, maybe they would want to do that because anyways, something is better than nothing. So they would be interested in that. But at the same time, when you talk about the ticketing strategy, pricing, it's if I quote an example, like we do an IP named Kasol Music Festival, which is a part of music tourism we do, and see, people are paying for the environment we give them, the destination and the kind of atmosphere we create. People are paying for that, and if we expect people virtually watching it to pay the same, it's not going to happen. It's senseless. So it is for sure we have to make the pricing accordingly. We'll have to make it cheaper than the physical tickets. And also, if you really want people to attend it online, we'll have to start promote those virtual tickets as well. Because if we do it just for the namesake, it's going to give you maybe 2% of the audience maybe. But if we start promoting it, then we can see the change happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Srijin.
Since we've also been doing the Kasoli Rhythm and Blues Music Festival, so I just want to add to this that we just stopped doing the music festival online. because we just felt that there was no audience, no virtual online audience for a music festival, because a music festival is not about one artist on the stage. It is the complete experience when you, the buzz, from the time when you enter till the time you leave. So we just stopped doing it. But then the idea, talking about selling tickets, recently Coldplay did a concert, and I think PVR's joined hands or Inox joined hands. So they did it on the full screen. They were houseful. Why is that? Because that was Coldplay, right? So sorry? If it's about the artist. So you do one big artist like that. I mean, you'll have the people coming and buying tickets. Now that again was a hybrid event. It happened where it did, and all the auditoriums in India showed it. And yet people went to see it because it was Coldplay. So for festivals, there was, because people want to come and feel the buzz. So which you cannot create. I mean, you can create engagement, you can create a buzz on the hybrid platform and on the virtual platform, but what you experience here when you're sitting over here with everybody is not what you can experience there.
Absolutely. Thank you for adding, Nani. I think picking up from the music concert, there's a gentleman sitting next to me and we were having a great conversation earlier this day. So they have a great concept about music tourism and how are you bringing in hybrid model to it. So I would want Sam you to throw some light on that.
Yeah, so Ashwin mentioned Kasol Music Festival is one of the IPs which we have been working on. And when you're talking about curating a music festival in a destination which is not so known, and you're also promoting that destination. So basically music tourism is a part where people are traveling towards a country, a city, or a town or village to attend a festival, music festival or a concert. For music, they are traveling. So that's the term, music tourism. And when you're selling an experience, as ma'am was mentioning, that experience, the music, the live experience can't be there in like the online model. So when we talk about hybrid, switching to hybrid models in these festivals and events, the only pros which we see is like if people are ready to attend these kind of festivals which are like far away from their place, and since for music tourism you have to travel anyhow, so people who are not able to travel and who really want to attend the event and see what all experiences are there, and for them it's an opportunity to get online, come online and see how the events are working, and the artist lineup does plays a major role. So we in our events we do promote a lot of underground artists, upcoming artists. So for them audience won't come up, but for big names, as ma'am was saying, like people do show up. And that's how like for if you're promoting an Indian artist who is like doing well in the industry, people from around the globe who want to attend his concert or her concert can actually buy online tickets and get into the hybrid model, like they can be a part of it. So yeah, and with help of a virtual reality and AI, and then there's 360 video broadcasting, and also somewhat experience can be curated for them and shared, but not the exact experience, right? So yeah, technology is like helping out the hybrid model.
Absolutely. Well said, Sam. Thank you for sharing. I think, of course, technology is the key. It's always helped us out. So moving on to my next question to Pawan.
Jasmine, can we keep this as the
Yes,
last?
I know. That's just the last question. So Pawan, I would like to understand from hotel industry. We can see that, to kind of sail through these times, especially the hotel industry has invested a lot into the event tech organizations to ensure that they are giving a right platform for the organizations to come and host, curate their hybrid model, events in a better place, like Nani was saying, talking about having the best Wi-Fi bandwidth is the least to say. So how the hotel industry is adapting themselves with the hybrid events?
We've gone back to understand how this functions. Like your internet bandwidth is a key component. Technology is the heart of it. Power. We've started discussing with our event partners as to how we can help them, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who's delivering this experience to the larger audience. We've started building our infrastructure capabilities towards this direction. and we're trying to work around with them, and they've been very cooperative. Thanks to them. In fact, in due course, we have learned so much about this. We're one of those great industries where we could talk to people from different walks of life. Now, technology, as I said, we are more in human interface than technology, but we have quickly adapted to that. By the way, this is a new revenue stream that we have identified. We did not lose any business otherwise, right? It's only an addition to the existing revenue streams. We are doing much better than previous years, pre-pandemic. So there was this anxiety as to how hybrid events will take off this physical meetings, which is just a myth as we speak, as we see it in real now. I only see, as Dr. Anurag Batra was saying, we only scratched the surface 5% or whatever percentage, but there's a huge scope to build on this infrastructure, capabilities, experiences, evolve with them, while we still keep this physical events, because we have a lot of car launch or mobile launch or whatever experiential marketing events that we have. The consumption of space is pretty much the same. The frequency of events have gone up, which means more revenue to the industry, more events for our partners. And we are also equally building on the capabilities of hybrid events.
And
I'm
they're
sorry,
way
we
more
don't have much
affordable.
time now left at our disposal. We really wish to deep dive further into it, but we'll take it offline, Nadi. So thank you so much, dear panelists, for your